they were playing some of the time, because a lot of the times I feel like, especially on that pink fight where Snipedrone gets the double, those players, I think, shot each other in the back once with how close they were. You can have teamwork without being right next to each other.
Yeah, sometimes that's like I feel like a fallback method for certain teams where it's like, hey, if things aren't happening enough together, it's like, all right, we need to hold hands for a second. Let's go up towards pink, and then once we get there, we can separate a little bit. But as you kind of push out of the base or out of one certain area, you can kind of do that little hand holding.
And then honestly, that might work in the open bracket, but I feel like against the big dogs, especially a team like Luminon Gaming, that's a lot of information as well. That's a lot of known commodities in one specific spot on the map, which means a lot of the rest of the map is free.
If they know how to react to it, exactly, because you saw it play out in two perfect examples. One time over the utility, two players together, close range combat, they're going to win that. They're going to win that 2v1. However, in a situation where they're kind of out in the open, kind of over near Fridge, someone can defend that by just being in a superior position. You saw over, I believe it was SLG, who was over on the top base, two players near Fridge, and he takes that challenge 2-on-1 and kills them both.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm thinking to myself, even when they win the 2v1 in the gen, it's like, well, now you're stuck in the gen. How do you get out of this situation? And we have perfect information on where two of y'all are standing.
Exactly. It's not even just saying where two of them are at. You basically get to have the mindset of half their team is here.
Yeah.
So if I hear half their team is somewhere,
that means
I either want to be able to find a way to punish that, or I can say, guess what? Guess their flag's free for the taking. We're going to sprint on over towards your base and cause some havoc.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what we saw from Luminon. It was very impressive performance. As we look on to game two, the Slayers, like I said, a good thing about the open bracket as well is you get a lot of practice and you get a lot of opportunity to build on some of the map mo combinations, specifically Slayers. As when we were playing open bracket, I know you didn't play an open bracket maybe once in your career, but it was like 2 Slayers and an objective. So that's a lot of Slayer practice. Do you think that that gives them confidence and a leg up here? Maybe not a leg up, but more of a standing opportunity to fight. Or what is it about the Slayers, I guess, that give these open bracket teams more opportunity to create an upset than the objective modes?
Yeah. The two main things that allow an open bracket team or a lower seed team to cause an upset in a Slayer is, one, the win condition. The fact that if you made some great plays earlier, they can't just completely stop your progress on the map. You can completely stop someone's progress from capping the next flag or grabbing the next hill. You can't stop them from scrapping another kill or two. That is, they're going to slowly but surely work their way towards that 50. So one, any good plays that take place earlier mid the game, you can't revert. You can't undo. Secondly, is players get more of a comfort zone. You get some of these players that get really overwhelmed as 2 strongholds are being captured or a ball is rotating, and they'll start to make rash decisions that they normally wouldn't. They would be a bit more lax with their lives. They'll charge across. They'll make a play faster than they should and be punished for it against these top teams. Whereas when it's just your lives on the line, they're going to say, all right, I'm going to wait for my shield. I'm going to take the safer route. I'm going to wait till the power-up comes up.
The win conditions are more in your favor, or like on your terms, I would say, rather than someone else controlling the objectives around the map. Very well said. I'm excited to get into this game too. I know the viewers are excited, and we're just moments away. I'm hoping we start it up. I'd love to see a series layout or maybe the post-game stats from the last series if we're able to. I know it's very early on Saturday, so we're still working out the kinks. But as we get ready for this, I'm thinking about the rest of the teams in this pool. And if you're Legion Gaming, obviously game 1, you're still in this series. It's a best of 5. Still time to make up for it. But if this series doesn't go your way and you're looking at the rest of this pool, Cloud9, FaZe, those 2 teams have already won and beat Luminon. So you're hoping that this is the worst team in this pool, but we all know who Luminon Gaming is. So does Legion.
Yeah, I think in a weird way, I think Legion is looking at this and they're saying, all right, I think going in this pool, we'd have originally thought that Cloud9 would have been our team to target versus Luminon. But with how the cards kind of played out and how Friday played out, it's sort of like, kick Luminon while they're down. They're arguably top 2 in the pool going into this event was kind of mine and many teams' mindsets.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you take it match by match. All of a sudden, first one, if it doesn't go your way, you say, all right, whether you got FaZe next or whether you have Cloud9 next, you start to say, all right, it's FaZe, let's make it a battle. Let's make sure we get this going. Let's see what we can do. I mean,
some little
Cloud9
things,
and
doing a little things right, and just even these series go a long way to maybe potentially upsetting.
But ultimately, end of the day, you need to execute, you need to win a series.
Yeah.
At least, if things start to go awry and you lose this series or you lose against FaZe, all of a sudden you're saying, well, I don't know what the tiebreakers are, but we have to just beat Cloud9. Plain and simple. No other way around it.
100%. And if you're Cloud9, you put yourself in such a good position beating a team like Luminon Gaming, a team that we would favorite over a team like Cloud9 in the past. Cloud9 actually shows up. And this could be the tournament collector where he puts himself on the map on LAN. We've seen him play so well online, but a series win like that for Cloud9, they're waking up this morning knowing that they can't let what they've already earned slip out of their hands, because I feel like in the past, we've honestly seen that from Cloud9.
Yeah, you have times where it's like you make the big play, make the big upset, and then you kind of throw it away at a match where you need to do routine. You need to play your standard and win.
Back into game 2 now. It's going to be Recharge Slayer. 3-1. The lead goes towards Legion Gaming. Another hot start, I would say, for Legion Gaming. And we saw them get off to a very strong start on Aquarius, but what can they do with this lead? Now 4-2, Shock Rifle in Xuzey's hands. And we'll see if he's able to hit a couple shots. It's always those amateur players you don't expect to hit shots that do it, and Xuzey's proving me right here. He knows he's got players top red right now, so he's got to be careful. Hits a second shot, and this kid could be the difference maker in this game too.
Just working so hard. That very first kill was so crucial. Killed the one player from Luminon who was across the map. However, you're the only one left, Euzey. Gets picked off in the pipes, and despite great shot after great shot, Shock Rifle taken down, game is tied up.
On board with SLG, he's going to be back blue right now, clearing out the bottom tunnel, sees nobody, but then spots a guy in the sneaky. Gets some early damage, and that pre-nade from his teammate allows him to pick up an easy double. Phenomenal teamwork and predictiveness from Luminon Gaming will give them the lead here. The Shock Rifle in WuTum's hands now, and we know the dangerous plays he can make with this. If you are Legion Gaming, you need to figure out a way to take down WuTum before he's able to do too much work. They do get a trade, and I view that as a win once again for Legion Gaming.
Yeah, send in the gatorz, what they say. Legion takes him out. Damage done. We're gonna see Legion. I do like how they've started off this game. Very close, basically tied. The only fear I have is that a lot of that was Euzey. Euzey hitting some great Shock Rifle plays to kick off this round. Now I wonder if this is going to spiral out of control a little bit more here for Luminon, or we're going to see Legion just do just fine in the neutral game.
Yeah, how do they play when this game slows down and you see Luminon really try to break them down as far as where they're set up? How put together are you, especially on a map like Recharge, Dave? I want you to talk about it, how important it is to be watching the crosses, have that cohesiveness at all times, because if one player sneaks through, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust built and lost here on Recharge during setup times.
A lot of trust
You
lost
start to find out, hey, who's watching the angle, and how much can you trust that they watched the angle the whole time? Are they going to let you know if they didn't watch it for a little bit and somebody maybe made their way across the catwalk?
SLG picks up the new camo. It was a triple kill from Snipedrone that really allowed to open up the map for SLG to freely get this camo. And now with camo control and a 4-kill lead, this is where the game could get ugly for Legion. Let's see how they deal with this situation, because they are all trapped bottom elevator, and eventually here come Luminon Gaming.
Yeah, just too many players in one spot. This is what we talked about before. When players clump up a bit, you can take the safer routes. Look at that, WuTum gets a flank. That's gonna be all 4 going down at the Needler. When too many players are clumped up, they're gonna get that distance. So if you are going to clump up and push, you need to close that distance. You need to do it quick.
SLG hits a double, can't quite hit the triple, but this camo is still in his hands. It's still a problem. Knocks Gunny down to no shield as well. Gets multiple players weak here in red, and these players are trapped in a 2v3 situation. You can see the members swarming from Luminon Gaming. The assist coming through. WuTum finds a double, and all of a sudden now the score blown wide open. It's a 9-kill lead for Luminon Gaming.
Yeah, I'm a little worried here for Legion, as I feel like they're playing almost a little scared, or they're just kind of getting caught off guard at some points. You notice when players are hesitant to make a push, when they're saying, hey, don't give them any free kills, and they have 4 players at elevator, and all of a sudden they say, well, let's just bolt out one way. It doesn't feel like they're playing their normal game. It feels like Luminon is forcing them into a corner. Yeah,
they've been trapped for what feels like the second half at the start of this game right now. 29-21. They're able to get a couple kills, maybe slow down some of the pressure from Luminon Gaming, but how long can that last? 30 now to 21. Glory picks up the kill, bottom white. He's going to be able to play his life, and even gets a trade on his way out. 3 go down for Legion Gaming, and these trades not favoring Legion Gaming at all in this situation. It is a hard start once again from WuTum that has made the difference at 11, 5, and 6.
Snipedrone just going to keep control of this top elevator. You saw this at the very beginning of the game as well. feels like a spot that Luminon is really prioritizing. They're going to say, we're going to keep this player top elevator, blocking spawns, laying some crossfire. As soon as someone's trying to go towards the top goal, they're making their way across center, and just continue them spawning over at Hydro.
Yeah, it's such a difficult place to play from right now. They're all trapped in white. The push is coming through. Every angle being attacked right now, and it is going to be the Mangler door that gets wide open, but Gunny's lost his entire team. He's down into the Mangler pit. He's knocked to no shield. He is able to get a kill. A couple of kills release some of the pressure, but the trade's still not going in the favor of Legion Gaming. Make Luminon's job so much easier as this game gets closer to 50.
All right, Gunplexion's got the camo. Let's see what he can do with this one right here. Knows a couple players. I like this. Getting a lot of info, but somehow gets pinged and spotted across the map there. Bit unfortunate as he's traveling across the batteries.
WuTum wins another fight in red. 2 go down for Legion Gaming. A couple players coming off respawn for both sides right now. WuTum with the grapple, going to relocate to bat ledge. 42-28 in complete control. And they once again have them trapped at white. We've seen Legion Gaming have this 3-4-man push that they're going to try and hit elevator, it looks like. But this is bad news bears. They're all stuck in a very enclosed location right now. And here comes the Tum.
Yeah, we've seen this episode before. We've seen this play out previously where players are stuck over the elevator, and Luminon slowly but surely are just going to lay on some pressure and then send in some way to finish off the kills. They can keep their distance, and like I said, when players are clumped in one area, as long as you have some distance and don't get from their angles, they're in a bad spot. As soon as they close the distance, as soon as they get close to you in pipe forever, those numbers come to play.
That's going to be game. It's going to be 50-32. They avoid the steak dinner, but not what you want to see from Legion Gaming. They drop their second game of the tournament, fall down 0-2 in this series. Luminon Gaming not allowing Legion to get any space to breathe at all. They look like they're all business here today, Dave.
Yeah, Luminon realizing that they have to win this series. I don't want to say that they took someone like Cloud9 lightly or anything like that, but they dug themselves into a big hole here to pool play. For a squad that was likely coming in confident, thinking that they could potentially take the #1 seed in their pool to find themselves 3rd/4th in their pool, they aren't taking this match easy. I'll tell you that much.
It's WuTum at 16-8-5. You know Mama Tum is at home watching her boy dominate early on a Saturday. Good things happening for Legion Gaming, and Luminon Gaming, I'm sorry, but Legion, that was probably one of the game types where if you're looking at this series, you're like, we have to win this. And now down 0-2 in your first series on Saturday in pool play. First series ever in pool play. How do you think they're feeling going into game 3? Is it almost all hope lost at this point, or do you think they have the confidence to maybe turn something around and make this a little bit more interesting?
I mean, no doubt that inside some of their head, some of that doubt's crept in. You know, they probably went in with hopes and delusions of grandeur to like go in and be like, we're getting this first, we're getting a double cap right off the rip, off Aquarius, we're gonna do this, and all of a sudden just saying, all right, what's the change we make? And at this point, they're probably turning their heads, looking to whoever that leader is on the team, listen to their coach and saying, what are we gonna do different? Are we just gonna sit back, lose this third game, or are we gonna make some changes and play on our terms? And so they have to change something up. What they're doing right now is not working. Feels like they're clumping up a bit too much. It feels like they're playing a bit reserved in some places. Feels like sometimes they're over-challenging, just trying to force action. Something needs to change.
You mentioned the clumped up, and I think multiple times throughout that game, too, we saw the same mistakes being made in game 1. How close they were together. That 4 push onto Turbine, onto the kneeler position from Elevator, that doesn't work against pro teams. Once they get that information, you see SLG drop bottom middle. He just plays his life, gets his shield back, and when he gets his shield back, he's able to get right back into the fight. And all of these players in such a confined space, it feels like the trades are not going in their favor. I don't know if those strategies have been working throughout the tournament for them previously, but what is it about a situation like that that's just getting shut down time after time?
I think it's a bit of unfamiliarity over this last day or so. I assume through the open bracket, there's probably a limited amount of times that they've been all 4 wiped. They're all 4 spawned in the same spot and have to work out there. Instead, they've probably been in a more commanding position, maybe having control across the map, maybe having a full setup, at least being neutral. So they're finding themselves not only in a unfamiliar situation that they weren't in as much yesterday, they're fighting against an incredible pro team.
Yeah, absolutely, and one that's out for blood, right? One that has to get on the right page. That's almost a desperate team on that side of the stage that you're playing against. I like what you said, though, because I think when I compare even the best teams in the world, what separates the Optics and the Shopifys from the FaZes and the SSGs a lot of the time, like you said, it's everybody can play from control, from a dominant position.
Everyone can do a little something with rocket, snipe, overshield. You're going to pick up a couple kills. You're going to get a flag.
How quickly and how can you minimize the damage done when you're the one in a desperate position, when you're the one at the deficit is the big question. We see the best in the world, the Optic Gamings, the Shopify's. They figure out ways to just release some of that pressure so much more efficiently and sooner than a lot of our teams. And I think that that's what we're seeing here. You probably, if you were paying attention to Legion Gaming yesterday, you probably were seeing them get out of these situations a lot more successfully and quicker than a team like Luminon Gaming is going to punish you for it. They're making sure that they take advantage of all these opportunities and the strategies that we've seen Legion throw out, the 4-man to the Needler push. One, I'd have to question, but also just something that's not working right now.
And it's maybe almost like I hate to say never in a game, but like I think there's a rare circumstance where maybe it's like a 49-49 game where you can send all 4 in one round or something. Yeah, but I feel like it's almost never that you're clumping up 4 and sending them out.
Yeah, now on to game 3. Lattice. I called it Lattice. I did that during the dev phase, so forgive me, but Lattice, King of the Hill right now, and this is honestly an objective game. I feel like the King of the Hills are probably the easiest for open bracket teams to take from the competitive teams, especially if you have a hot start, you're able to get a point or so. Maybe time becomes a win condition in your favor. Let's see if that's going to be the case. It is early hill time for WuTum. He does predict little gator spawning over at red. And that
brilliant spawn prediction there from WuTum.
You
just causing all that pressure over at blue and seeing that somebody's going to spawn over at red.
Someone spawns out and immediately able to handle it and stay inside the hill. It's SLG that's found himself the snipe and immediately knows that they're going to spawn bottom white. Great information. You can tell how comfortable it looks Luminon Gaming feel right now on the map.
Not even just information, but just such a strong understanding of the spawns on this map. In a situation where potentially a red ramp spawn would have caught someone off guard, or bottom tower spawns would have caused team off guard. They are prepped for it, and they're watching them spawn.
Yeah, it's insane, and that's such a difficult level of amount of pressure to deal with. How do you stop a guy with an S7 staring down the barrel at you when you come up? You better know where, you better have a tab on him and you better de-scope him immediately. Unfortunately, SLG is able to finally get taken down, but not without doing a ton of damage, and Luminon Gaming taking the lead 1-0 with almost a perfect first hill.
Yeah, strong first hill performance there. Legion, I think they got to a strong start. I mean, you saw 3 kills on Gunnplexion, but after that, it was kind of downhill. They've been kind of getting picked apart and stagnant. So here's another situation where Legion only have 2 members up on the map, and it looks like Luminon are going to try to pick off another kill and stagger them again. Luckily, players don't overextend, and they now have a chance to do a 4-person push, hopefully not all in one spot together.
Yeah, these are the situations I'm so interested to see Legion Gaming in.
I love this. Look at that kill.
You're at a deficit. How do you slow it down and break this setup on the first push? Because this hill already 70% progress in Legion Gaming's favor. Or in Luminon Gaming's favor, I'm sorry. And now Legion finally break the setup, but it's a successful break. Can they keep a hold is the question for me now.
More than successful break, almost a flawless break. They lost maybe 1 person along the way. They staggered a couple more kills on Luminon. We're starting to see what Legion can do when they got control. That's one thing we have yet to really see throughout this round. Even off some strong
Big
starts,
double.
where we saw Euzey getting some shock rifle kills on Recharge Slayer, we didn't really see them getting Luminon 4 down. Let's see what this team can do if they get a full step of their own.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is. They tied up the hill progression right now, but still work to do. You got to get one more round of slays if you want to tie this game up. Glory's not to no shield over by the crates. It is a kill coming through, but players pushing towards white. It's WuTum and a teammate right now. SLG tries to get in the hill, tries to get feet to deny it, but it is going to be a tied game. The best of Legion Gaming we've seen here steps up in game 3.
You know, we talk about teams and how they play in different scenarios. We talked about how Legion was playing on the back foot when they didn't have control. Not their strongest suit. But when they have control, they can hang with the best of the best. Look at them taking down Luminon in one fell swoop.
Euzey now with the snipe in hand, the triple kill. Oh yeah, baby, that's what you want to see from the Dogs. Down 0-2 in this series. They tie this game up, and all of a sudden, players are starting to make plays. That's what you need to create an upset. Another headshot for Euzey. As he rotates towards the crates, he's going to have to help his teammate. Snipedrone on the prow, and they're not giving him anything anymore. They're saying, this kid is hitting shots. I do not want to let him get even hotter.
Don't give him the angles. Don't give him the shots. WuTum puts a stop to that. A bit disappointing, though, there in the end, because when you see somebody pulling off a miraculous triple kill like that, hitting the shots like you need, you want to see a team able to take more advantage of it, but it felt like the rest of his teammates were still just getting kind of killed over and over again. So while he was doing work on one half of the map, Luminon was doing work on the other half.
Yeah, they've virtually got no progression here on the third hill, and already it's about halfway for Luminon Gaming, and this is going to be a tough setup to break. Once again, we're going to question, can Legion Gaming break what is now a green setup for this team? There's going to be one player top catwalk, one by the hill in the back of the base, one in the hill, of course, and unfortunately, you go 3 down. That's almost guaranteed a point going to Luminon Gaming here, as they're going to go up 2-1 here shortly. WuTum still anchoring the back of blue and spawning across the map is not where you want to be if you're Legion Gaming, and you got to get off respawn and get ready for this fourth hill. It's top catwalk, 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. This catwalk hill should get capped by either team with that much time left, and it's usually easily denied. But this is going to be an interesting setup to try and break because they have so much control.
I like this play too here from Luminon. They're essentially kind of having 2 people inside the hill. And we've seen this kind of play out in other hills in the past where it's not just saying, we leave out our one hill person out to dry. Instead, you sometimes commit a little more power to there and kind of treat it as an area that you hold.
Right now, WuTum just chilling with the carbine. Love the idea that we're able to get that into the players' hands here before Worlds. And now WuTum under pressure for a couple angles. Finally, some kills going in Legion Gaming's favor. They're able to take down 3 players for Luminon right now. WuTum was the last player alive, and he's being such a nuisance here, and they finally able to take him down. A lot of progression without that setup being broken. It's not easy to get progression on this catwalk kill. Let's see if Legion Gaming can match that level of a setup here. It is going to be Xuzeyy here. Top blue side of the hill. He's going to take some shots, but there is a player in hill. Glory tries to take down Xuzeyy here, but a good job by Xuzeyy to back Glory up. Doesn't worry about that kill, mostly wants blue control for the moment.
Yeah, I like this. Realizing that you have to get a round of slays, and that's going to be the round of slays that Legion needs.
Dead.
They get 3 down, and they're going to be able to grab another 25+% of this hill. And we saw what this guy could do with Sniper earlier. Let's see if we can do it again.
A big shot from Xuzeyy to stagger the respawners. Can't hit the no-scope on the Glory. It was ambitious, and Glory don't miss. And when Glory doesn't miss, that challenge is going to make you pay for it with your life. 3 down for Legion Gaming right now. Make it all for the snipe. Goes into Glory's hands, and that is where the game could turn on its head, and the series could be over.
Yeah, they had the setup opportunity, they had the sniper opportunity, just didn't execute on those next few kills. However, still plenty of time on the clock. That's the good news. Bad news is Luminon 1 hill away from closing out this game and series.
Bad news is Glory woke up today, rips another face off of Legion Gaming, makes his way over towards the crate, still has a snipe in his back pocket. I think he's got a bullet or 2 still left. He's got thrust to work with as well. Tries to bait out the shot with the bandit first, can't hit the quick scope with the snipe. He has no shield, but he doesn't care. He chows and still alive, gets his shield back in the hill, and you can tell Luminon Gaming want to end this game on their terms with 4 points.
Yep, putting that pressure on, and I agree with this as well. You don't want to try to drain the clock for too long now, especially when you've been so successful at capping the hills. So I agree that Luminon needs to put a little pressure on, and they got half the captured so far. Glory dancing back and forth over to Crystal. Let's see what he can do here.
Glory in a 1v2,
okay.
Makes it look easy. A killing spree for Glory, turns his sights to Little Gatorz, wanted the triple, but Gunnplexion able to save Little Gatorz in that situation, able to get a double kill, and actually Luminon Gaming get into the hill, stops the clock from moving. Legion break that setup, and if they can hold this, there's going to be plenty of time for an opportunity to try and tie this game, but they need that second point, and they need to do it quick.
Yeah, not realizing that Gunnplexion was such a animal, wildlife activist trying to save little gators over there, over on the crates. But eventually, coming through and saving teammates, and those are the 4 plays that we have been missing seeing from Legion. People buying that extra time, staying alive, and letting a teammate come through, help, and get the kills. Feels like sometimes Legion have been overcommitting towards individual battles, not buying those crucial extra seconds.
Yeah, great teamwork so far, and they are able to get that hill. They're going to make it a 1-point game here. The hill will move back towards ice as Xuzeyy and company get 3 down. It's a double kill. Last player alive is back red. We're doing 360s with the repulse. Let's shoot our guns at the last player alive. Back red finally gets taken down. They're in the hill. Early progression will go towards Legion Gaming, and all of a sudden, this is where the game could flip once again. Momentum starting to be built by Legion Gaming.
And also, look at, we're not seeing a bunch of clumping up. We're seeing some confidence from these fights. I like that movement there from Euzey. But let's see what Gunnplexion do to try to clean up these kills.
Backs up Snipedrone, knows he's going towards the ramp, but tries to lead it with the nade. Snipedrone's gun's gonna take down Gunnplexion. It is traded out, but it's a 2-down situation for Legion Gaming. Your last player, little gatorz towards the ice, is gonna get swarmed. Can he get a kill before it? No, WuTum takes him down, jumps back on the catwalk, gets information that players are spawning back blue, and now WuTum on the prowl.
Yeah, WuTum putting that pressure over at the blue spawns, forcing them to fight out just as soon as they re-enter the game. Difficult position to be in. That's going to be 3 down. Lil gatorz, the only one alive here for Legion.
Yeah, they are spawning at red, though, and that's a very close location towards this hill. It is going to be Snipedrone with the snipe, trying to look all the way from catwalk towards this. He spots 2 players going bottom middle, chooses to trigger discipline until he can line up the headshot, able to rip the face off little gatorz, and when it rains, it pours. 2 go down for Legion Gaming. Snipedrone now with the snipe going to rotate towards red, knowing that that's the power position for this hill. You cannot get in this hill with Snipedrone being alive with the snipe right now.
Yeah, and I'm confused or interested to know which way Luminon's going to play this one. It seemed like at first they were just going for slays and draining out the clock, but now that we see WuTum stepping back inside the hill, looks like they want to end the game on their terms with the 4th hill.
Yeah, I think it's a big statement for them, right? They want to get through this series not just by cruising, but they want a dominant performance. They want to kick their Saturday off on the right foot, especially how Friday went for Luminon Gaming, and that is the statement they're making. Seconds away from ending this series. Snipedrone with the snipe in hand, body shots all around. Everyone's no shield. The hill goes in their favor, and they will take this series 3-0 with a 4-2 victory here in Game 3.
And just kind of commanding leads the entire time throughout all these games. I mean, we saw some life out of Legion there. The best we saw was around that 3rd hill. We saw them kind of get control, dominate. Actually, second hill. They got control over red, dominated, held a full setup against Luminon. But after that, it was just kind of more of Luminon just winning their battles, being consistent, buying time, doing things just more correct.
Yeah, that was the best game we've seen from Legion Gaming throughout this series. It's unfortunate they weren't able to tie that game up and put it into a 7th and final overtime hill. But if you're Legion Gaming, the ways Game 1 and 2 went, they weren't really close, Dave. Game 3, you have something to kind of hang your hat on. You have something to walk into the next series against Cloud9 and FaZe with a little bit more confidence than you probably would have if the series was just a best of 3 and you ended it after Game 2 with those first 2 performances.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Game 3 was similar to the first couple, you'd start to say, man, we might just be a little outclassed here. But seeing what I saw from Game 3, when they get control, when they get hot, they can hang. They can do it right. Now it's just a question of, can they get control of it? Can they break out of those back foot scenarios where they're getting spawn slayed? That's going to be the real test.
It's going to be tough for both of those teams moving forward. We know with this win, that will put, most likely, Luminon Gaming into the elimination bracket, a team that nobody wants to play for top 12, a team nobody wants to play for top 8, maybe not even top 6. I think a lot of teams are very aware of how talented this team, and they woke up playing pretty well on Saturday. I'm excited to see what they have throughout that elimination bracket run they're bound to have. But that's going to be it from us on the A-Stream for now. Dave and I will see you guys in a bit.